The Volusia County Council has approved a new sustainability plan for county government. The plan identifies goals such as promoting a healthy economy, the environment, and of course the community. We have with us in the studio today Katrina Locke with the county's Environmental Management Division to explain more about what the sustainability plan is and what it means for county government. Katrina, thanks for being with us.
Dave, thank you. Thanks for having me.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, I haven't had you in the studio for quite some time.
I know. Just saying. Actually, this is the first time in the studio we've done radio interviews.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, you know, a lot of people probably have no idea what a sustainability plan is. Give us kind of a layman's description of what this is.
Well, this plan, the county's plan, basically provides us with goals, objectives, and implementable actions that we can utilize to move towards a sustainable goal. And our goal is to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions. And so the plan itself has different elements that we can use, kind of like a menu of elements that we can use. And the larger goals are, as you mentioned, you know, a healthy environment, healthy economy, transportation and community sort of design, waste reduction, which is reducing waste and recycling, conservation of water, conservation of energy, and healthy environment.
Yeah, so I guess all of these things fall into the broad category, if we could have simplifying, of doing good things for the environment.
Right, correct.
You know, we've talked in the past, Katrina, about the county's green initiatives, and I guess that the green initiatives sort of fit within the overall sustainability plan. What's the difference, or is there a difference?
No, it's all the same. Basically, within the, in 2009, Volusia County Council adopted the Green Volusia program, and that program was created to look at our own practices, so within county government operations, to expand our green efforts within those operations, and then also to provide education to the public and sort of outreach elements to increase knowledge about sustainable practices within the community.
You know, we've said that the county council, the county government should be a leader, should set a standard, you know, do the right thing, set a good example. And I know the county has done a number of things that fall within this green category of saving resources and that sort of thing. Tell us some of the things that the county has done to benefit the environment, but also to save tax dollars.
Some of the things we've done within our own operations are within our facilities department, where we have looked at energy retrofits. So they've gone through some of the county buildings and done some energy retrofits, which have saved us
big money.
Yes, big money, since those energy retrofits were started to be implemented in 2011, and then the last time we looked at those figures, that was a saving of $222,477.
And I know that, for example, you know, again, looking at George Baker's area, the Fleet area, we've gone to a number of, you know, what you call hybrid vehicles, that sort of thing, which also cut down, you know, on the emissions and save dollars.
Correct. They've looked at the fleet that we operate within county operations and reduced our fuel usage, and so that has been a big saving as far as dollars go. And you know, they continue to look at the fleet and continue to make adjustments as necessary. You
know, as the citizens go around Volusia County and they see those big Votran buses, a lot of those Votran buses are also hybrid vehicles. Cost more money, but in the long run, from what I'm told, you know, the maintenance savings will overcome the additional cost to purchase the vehicle.
Yes, that's another example of things that we've done within the community to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions.
You know, when we say greenhouse gases, Katrina, what exactly does that mean?
Well, from our perspective, there's a number of different gases that make up those greenhouse gas emissions, and the one that the biggest contributing factor is carbon dioxide, and that's from the combustion of fossil fuels. And so what we're looking at is ways to reduce those emissions, those carbon emissions, or those greenhouse gas emissions that we produce.
And you know, I'm not on the science side of life, but from what I read and hear, reducing those emissions, I think in some ways saves the ozone, which is a problem across the world.
Those emissions do contribute to, you know, as you were saying, those greenhouse gas emissions do contribute to climate change.
Yeah, and I don't think that anyone, well, I guess I think some people still are not convinced that we have climate change, but we really do have climate change in this world today, and we're seeing the effects of it in a number of different ways, at least I think.
Right, and that's one of the things that we're looking at is, as I mentioned to you, there are so many different components of the plan, and looking at them all in an interconnected way. But one of the biggest emissions factors come from our energy consumption. So that's one of the big things that we are looking at, is how we can reduce those greenhouse gas emissions through that energy use. So reduce the energy use.
You know, the county has made a pretty substantial effort in acquiring open space, green space, you know, through the Volusia Forever program, and I think the county now has preserved well over 30,000 acres, and particularly in the center of the county, is open green space, you know, water recharge area, that sort of thing. Obviously, that's good for the environment, and I would think that within this overall catch-all of this sustainability plan, that must be a component or fit within this plan.
Right, and as you mentioned, we've got over 40,000 acres of managed lands for conservation and that public use, passive recreation use component. And so, you know, you've got the aquifer recharge component, which links to water conservation elements within the plan. You have an educational component also, which is part of those lands, in that we have education programs in which they connect the quality of life from those environmentally conserved lands back to the services that those lands provide.
And of course, you know, we know only too well across the state of Florida that as Florida continues to grow and we continue to consume this open space, obviously that squeezes the natural environment for a lot of the animals. And that's part of the reason why we would preserve this open space, I would think. Right,
and one of the nice things in Volusia County is the fact that, you know, this land, you can go from one end of the county to the other, and that land is interconnected.
You know, obviously, as we said earlier, Katrina, the county is trying to set a standard, do the right thing, set a good example, and so forth. But obviously, the county can't do it all by itself. You know, what sort of partners, or how do other agencies or even the citizens get involved in this?
Well, as you mentioned, you know, we have things that we're looking at in the sustainability plan that link to county government operations. So those are things that we can look at internally, but even then there are elements that we would look to partnerships with external groups to work and move forwards with those elements of the plan. But, you know, this is a community-wide component to this plan too, so that will require us reaching out to those community partners and working with them on different elements of this plan. There's also a big component of this is those community education components, so that community outreach at different events also, where we would partner with people. And in the couple of years ago, well, last year and the year before, we did a couple of workshops, environmental sustainability workshops, where we partnered with one of the local universities, Stetson University, on that program. So we'd be looking at things like that that can benefit the community.
Yeah, you mentioned outreach and education. You know, one of my observations is, and it's just me, but, you know, I think most people want to do the right thing, but a lot of people don't know how to get involved or don't know exactly what to do the right thing. And I think that's where this educational component comes into this.
It is huge. It's huge. It's you know, for some people, you know, they're already made progress in reducing their energy in their homes or reducing water use, but they just want to take it that step further. And so one of the things that we did was to provide educational information on the Green Volusia website that provides resources, so other places that you can go to look for additional information, and also some tips on the different components that you can look at. So, you know, as I mentioned with the plan, we have that healthy environment, you know, the transportation. So there's tips for each of those elements that help you in your home or in your business to become more sustainable.
So now that the plan has been approved, you hasn't been that long before, you know, you just went to the county council. What happens now? I mean, what are the next steps?
So what we'll be doing next is working with different divisions and departments within the county to identify an annual plan. So a plan that we'll take back to council for council approval, that will basically identify those next steps for the next year. And then in addition to that, within 6 months, we'll go back to council with an update on our progress every 6 months from then onwards as well.
So now that we've got people's interests peaked, how do people get more information about the plan, Katrina?
Well, as I mentioned, we have the Green Volusia website, so it's just greenvolusia.org. And the plan is actually on the home page, so it's right there, and they can click on that link and access the whole plan.
And maybe if there are civic groups out there, or maybe they'd like to get a presentation from you or one of your staff, are you available to do that?
Yes, we can certainly go out and talk to people about the plan and about sustainability and Green Volusia program in general.
Well, I know that, in conclusion, I know the county has saved major money through this, with a lot of people working together. As you mentioned, the facility staff, just the reduction in the utility bills from simple things like changing out light fixtures.
Correct.
And, changing the thermostats and that sort of thing. If saved, I mean, the county pays a big power bill, and saving money like this is major money.
Right, automated building systems that we've utilized, yeah. And as I mentioned, it's that over $222,477 worth of savings since those retrofits were implemented in 2011, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing the information with us today. It's called the Sustainability Plan, just approved by the County Council. It's good stuff.
Great, thank you.
Our guest today is Katrina Locke. She's the Natural Resources Manager with the Volusia County Environmental Management Division.